My name is Tashika Knight, and this is my wisdom from experience. I had the pleasure of interviewing two great teachers. One was Mrs. Tanya Trent at Oakview Elementary, who's actually a second grade teacher, and she's had the pleasure of teaching for 16 years. And I also interviewed another teacher, Mrs. Katie Maggard, that works at Pilot Elementary, and she's been a teacher for 6 years. Both teachers told me that social studies was not really a high priority in their schools. However, both teachers do like to integrate social studies into their curriculum. Mrs. Trent even told me that she goes as far as teaching social studies during the end of her math period or during lunch. So what she says she does is she actually has her students come back during the lunch period, and while they're eating, she actually is starting to teach social studies just to get it in for the day. Both teachers actually told me that they like to integrate social studies into their math lessons when introducing things like currency, and also during their guided reading lessons when they're trying to introduce other cultures and talking about the government. When I asked either teacher to define social studies, they both told me that social studies was a pretty integral part of the curriculum, and that it's what makes us who we are today. So neither one of the teachers actually knew about the concept-based learning instruction. However, Mrs. Maggard told me that she does do project-based learning assessments as well as learning assignments, and likes to use actually real-world situations and bring them into the classroom so her students can really better understand what she's teaching. Overall, from these experiences, I definitely learned that I really want to make a conscientious effort to make social studies an integral part of my daily lessons. I want to be able to teach social studies as its own individual subject, but I also want to be able to integrate it into other subjects such as math, science, and reading. I want to be able to, from this learning experience, I now know I want to be able to create a learning environment where my students are active participants, both as individuals and, as the teacher said, both as in collaborative groups as well. That will help to boost up the learning experience. I learned that I want my students to accept responsibility for their own learning, and that I want to design lesson plans that allow my students to participate in empowering activities in which they understand that, learning is a process and mistakes are going to be a natural part of learning, and that it's okay to make mistakes in the classroom. I know from my experience that I now know that I really do want to plan with my other colleagues in order to get different perspectives on social studies. I think this will help make the learning experience a more successful one for my students. I learned that I need to plan with my students in mind. I know that both teachers actually talked about differentiating in the classroom, and I know that my students need to learn the same goal. They actually need to learn, the same thing, but perhaps in different ways. And I know that if I differentiate, I can reach out to all students in my classroom. From this experience, I know that I will also need to attend professional learning communities as well as professional development, which helps me to enhance my teaching, and so that I can come back into the classroom and know what I need to fix or need to boost up in order to help my students. I already have so much enthusiasm already for teaching, and so I know that will actually help me better teach social studies to my students. Again, I really enjoyed interviewing these two educators. They have helped me realize what I need to do to actually become a more successful social studies teacher. Thanks. That's it. Bye-bye.